Hey guys, my name is Vineet. So let's write a Java program to identify whether an input number is an Armstrong number or not. So before writing a program, we'll be discussing the approach which we'll be using in this program first. So let's say if we have input number n as 153. So we need to first identify how many digits we have in this number. So we can see here we have 1, 2 and 3. So the length of this number is 3. Now what the definition of Armstrong number is saying, the Armstrong number is an n digit number that is equal to the sum of the nth power of its digits. So we have 3 digits in this number. Now we need to give the power to each digit is L. What I'm saying is you need to separate out these numbers 1 and 5 and 3. So let's give the power of each digit, that is L. So L we have 3 here, L value we have 3, so each digit power will be 3, and we will be adding these powers. Here it should be power of 5 power of 3, and likewise we'll do for other digits as well, 3 power 3. Now we need to calculate the power of these digits, and so 1 power of 3 is 1, and 5 power of 3 is 25 and 125, and 3 power of 3 is 27. Now we need to add these numbers to get the final output. So here we have 126 and 26 plus 20, 126 plus 27 is 153. So you can see here the output of calculated number is equal to the input. So if the input n is equal to the calculated output, so in that case we can say the entered number is Armstrong number. So now this is the approach which we will be using in this Armstrong program. So let's get started with the program now. Private static. So we will be initially finding the length of these numbers, input number. So let's write that program method first, and the method name will be find length. So it is expecting input as num of integer type static. Sorry, I did a spelling mistake here. Now we need to calculate the length, so let's use one length variable of integer type, and initial value will be 0. So we need to iterate till this number will not reduce to 0. So we'll be using a while loop. We'll say if number, you need to keep iterate until the number will not become 0 or less than 0. So what we will doing here, we will be just dividing number with 10. It should be 10. And we, on each iteration, we need to increase the length by 1. So, and after end of this while loop, we need to return the length to the caller method. Now we have done with the finding length of the number. Now let's get started with the actual logic of Armstrong number. So private static, and we will be returning boolean to the caller method, and the method name will be is Armstrong. is Armstrong, STRONG, Armstrong, and it will be expecting input parameter. One is number itself and another one is length of this number. Now our first aim is to declare the variable which is required to solve this Armstrong problem. So we'll be using here temp variable, which will be keeping the actual value of num. So we need to preserve this value so that after calculation, whatever value will be calculating here, the final value will be able to compare with the n value. So that's why this n input will be preserving. We are not doing anything with this. We are just keeping a creating a copy of this n num, and we'll be using this temp on each iteration for further calculation, and this value will remain same. So whatever output will be calculating further will be the final output will get and compare with the num. If it will equal, so we'll be returning true, and that will be a Armstrong. Otherwise we'll be returning false. So let's give num value to temp variable, and another one will be digit. So why I'm using this digit? Because we'll be separating out each digit from the number. So we need to store this this single digit somewhere. So that's why I'm using digit variable here, and the digit initial value will be 0. And another variable will be sum. So you can see we are doing sum here. So we need to store this sum in any variable. So that we will be get final sum value, and we'll be able to compare that final sum with the initial input value, that is n. In this case we have num. So here also we can give num to give you better clarity. Now we have sum, and the initial value of sum is 0. Now we need to iterate this number again, and we need to separate out each of the number, and we'll do the square of that number. We'll do the power of that number. So power, in this case we have three digits only. So length is we have 3. If we have 4 digit, so length will be 4, and the power of each digit will be 4. So it depends upon the length of length of the number. So if the length of number is 5, so the power of each digit will be 5. In this case we have 3 length, so each digit power is 3. So let's separate these out. We'll use here while, and the exit condition will be until temp will be greater than 0. If it is less than 0 or equal to 0, we'll be breaking this loop, and at last we'll be so it depends upon us whether we need to return the last calculated value to the caller method, or we need to print it here itself. So let's write logic to separate each of the digit from this number and calculate the power of each digit. So let's do that. So what we'll doing, we'll be just using here temp and press %. What this will do, this will separate out one number in, from the number itself, num variable. So it will be separating this first 3, and we'll be storing that in digit variable. Now you can see we have digit variable here, and we need to do the power of this digit. So let's give the power of this digit. So what we'll be using here, we'll be using math class of lang package. Now we have here one method, that is power, POW, and both are expecting double, but you can pass integer, no problem. So we'll be passing here digit, and the length, what is the length of these numbers? We have 3 in this case, so length is dynamic. I mean, here number is dynamic and length is also dynamic. So if we pass this 153, in that case this length is 3. So for each digit we will be giving length 3 if the input is 153. So let's give length here. Now it will return this calculated value, these values. Now we have these values on each iteration, so we need to add these value into the existing value. In first case we'll be getting 27, so in next iteration we'll be getting 125, but we need to keep these previous values somewhere else, so that in the next iteration when we get 125, so we'll be able to add these 125 with the previous calculated value, that is 127, and we'll able to do the sum of these both value and on each iteration. So we need to preserve these values. So to do that we have here sum variable, sum plus equal to. What this sum plus equal to means sum equal to sum plus this. What it is saying? Oh, it is saying cast to int, so we have to cast this into in variable. So you can do this casting. You can cast this, else you can directly write like this, plus equal to. Yeah, now you have a sum like this. Now you need to separate the last digit from the num, and you will have remaining these 1 and 5 if your input is 153. So let's separate the last digit out, and we'll be having the from one digit to second last digit. So let's do that. So we'll be calculating based on the temp divided equal to 10. Now this is the small logic which will be calculating till here, this thing. Now after completion of this iteration, when our temp value will become less than or equal to 0, in that case these values will be calculated successfully, and this control will be exit from this loop, and after this loop will be returning, will not be returned here. We need to first calculate, we need to first give whether this is a true or false. I mean, this is a palindrome or not. Sorry, it's not palindrome, but it's a Armstrong number or not. So let's do that. I'll be using here if sum is equal to num. Now you can see the preserved value is num. We haven't do any modification with this number because we need that number here. So this number is newly calculated value, and we need to compare this newly value with the ended value. That's why I was using temp here. Now here I need to actually return boolean dot true. If it is equal, you can print true, else you can return false. Boolean dot false. it should be return. Or if you want a better naming convention, you can use here one flag int boolean flag or is Armstrong. Let's give this initial boolean dot false. So here we can do, if it is equal you can print true, else you can print if it is equal you can return true, else you can return false. So what is expecting here, return. So we need to is Armstrong is equal to boolean dot true. So if it is equal to, if the sum is equal to num, we'll be assigning true to this flag is Armstrong flag, and at the end will be return is Armstrong. So instead of keeping return statement in if and else block, you can return it once only. So let's write main method to verify whether our logic is working fine or not. So firstly we need to declare these variables, I mean numbers. So here we'll be passing num to 153, another one is boolean is Armstrong. So let's call find length method first. It will be expecting num and it will return length. So let's use one other variable is length. Initial value will be 0. It's not required to give initial value because anyhow it will be it will return something, whether it's 0 or greater than 0. So length is equal to this. Now let's call is Armstrong method. It is expecting two parameters of integer type, one is num and another one is length, and it will return boolean flag. So we'll be doing it here the same. So now into pass this here. So now it's time to check whether this calculated value is what this calculated value is returning. It's returning true or false. So if it is Armstrong, it'll be saying s out and entered number is Armstrong. We'll copy the same, else entered number is not an Armstrong. Enter number is not Armstrong number. So we have done with this logic, and let's run now. It's time to verify our logic, entered number is Armstrong number. So this is fine. If I will give you any other number which will not be an Armstrong number, I'll give here 154. So that is not an Armstrong number. So entered number is not Armstrong number. So you can see it's working, and I just want to modify the code little bit here. I just need ternary condition here. So if sum is equal to num, so what we need to return it here, boolean dot true, else boolean dot false. It makes sense because if you are keeping this, I mean if we are using extra variable here, and again we are checking conditions and returning the same variable, so it is not readable actually. So instead of this, we can write one ternary condition and we'll be returning this return. So you can see if this condition is true, we'll be returning true. If otherwise, we'll be returning false. The same thing. If it is true, we will be returning true. Otherwise, the initial value is false, so we'll be returning false. So let's delete this and verify with let's delete this variable as well. Now let's verify our new changes. Output, entered number is not Armstrong number. So let's pass input here 153, that is an Armstrong number. So entered number is an Armstrong number. So you can see in this case it's working fine, but it's working for 2 digits. And what if we pass 4-digit number? Sorry, it's 3-digit number and it's working. What if we pass here 4 digits number? So let's pass 4 digits number 1, 6, 3 and 4. It should work here. Entered number is Armstrong number. It's working fine. So let's change here 3 to 7, which is not an Armstrong number. So we should get here entered number is not Armstrong number. Yeah, it's right. And so I mean, if you are not in a favor of loop here while finding the length of this thing, so what you can do here, we can I'll tell you one other way, but that is not a correct way to do any programming, but still I'm telling you. So string length, you're doing this, and instead of this you can do this plus num dot string str num. Now we have this num value as string, string string. Now in this in string class we have length variable dot length, which will return the length of characters, and will be returning here. So it's a 2-line code only. So let's run. Now our input is 1637, which is not Armstrong, so we should get here the same message, entered number is not Armstrong number. It's working, and let's verify for the actual Armstrong number 1634. So in this case it should return the same message, that entered number is entered number is Armstrong number. entered number is Armstrong number. So let's verify for the 3 digits. 153. Yeah, it's Armstrong number. 151, which is not Armstrong number. So output is entered number is not Armstrong number. So this logic is working fine, but I'm not recommend you to use this kind of code. It's not a good programming practice. I'm just telling you the use case which you can use when you have space complexity and time complexity as well. So let's uncomment this code. So this code is we had tested already. It's working fine, and we have done with this video, guys, and stay tuned for another videos. Thank you so much.